Hi, this is Randy, and in this video we just want to continue on and get pfBlocker in G installed and do a little bit of overview about what pfBlocker, what options are available in pfBlocker. To install a package, we go to, I'm back on the Windows 10 machine, open to web browser, and I go to Package Manager. Okay. So we've got a couple packages installed. I go to Available Packages. You do need internet connectivity to do this. pfBlocker. Search on that. And there it is. Okay. I want you to notice here, down here, that pfBlocker is going to install a bunch of stuff. Okay, down here at the bottom, it's going to install all of these with it. All right, that's pretty cool. And it takes a minute or so. So let's go ahead and get that going. Okay, so there it goes. All right. Pretty fast. So once it's installed, we're going to go over to it, and we're going to see that it has several components. It's going to have the GeoIP component, which again is built in, which is amazing. Which we talked about at the very beginning of this video, but we said that's very straightforward to set up, and so we're not going to go through setting that up. Got a couple of videos linked in Canvas that do an excellent job of walking through that. In fact, you can see it updating here. Okay, I don't know if you saw that go by, but you saw some country names pop up. That was the GeoIP part of pfBlocker. All right, so it's installed. We got the green. It is not in Services, but it's in Firewall. And there it is. We didn't have this before, and now we do. So what you have here is you've got quite a few things, and it takes time to dig deep on this. And our goal is just to introduce this to you and get you a fundamental working knowledge of what you can do and how it works. And then, boy, there's a lot more that you can learn and do, and it's pretty exciting actually. So over here, we're on the General tab, and the General tab is where you enable or disable pfBlocker across the board. All of the different services here, IPv4, IPv6, DNS, Blacklisting, GeoIP, those are all dependent upon the tab that we're looking at right here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and enable it. In some of the tutorials, you'll see that they'll do all the configuration and then come back and enable it. This keep setting here is probably one of the more important things to point out. And what this says is that as you go work with this product, and down the road, however many months from now, there is a new version of pfBlocker, keep settings then will keep the configuration we do here and apply it when we install a newer version of it. Okay. Down here, the cron scheduler. Cron is time clock, or in Windows this would be task manager, and it's set to every hour to run a cron job, we'd call that. Now there are a lot of different choices here, and I'm going to keep this simple. As I've watched different videos, I've learned about some of these, but they take some time. They take some time to explain when you would and when you wouldn't. And we can get it running with minimal configuration, and then we can always come back in and tweak it. Again, being that it's a virtual in our case, we can checkpoint it. We could also export its configuration, which is pretty handy if it's not a virtual. Export the configuration before we start this, so that we could revert back if we just got confused. Okay. So as I'm working my way down here, I recognize some of these as that in my own testing I have enabled, but we're going to keep it simple. Okay. The download failure threshold is recommended to be set, and I've seen some people set it to 3 or 4. I'll go with 4. What it means is that as the pfBlocker goes out to update these blacklists, or it goes out to read them, we're going to tell it to go out and read them on a schedule. If it goes out and it fails, how many times will it retry and then stop or quit? And it's recommended that you just give it a limit. And as I mentioned, I've seen 3 or 4. Excuse me, went to 5 there. I just want to choose 4. Okay. Log size. Okay. Inbound firewall rules. Outbound firewall rules. Makes sense. There's also discussion you'll see on this, and most people agree that this is what you should do. That on inbound requests coming in, we block them, and on outbound we reject them. And it's just a way that that a packet is handled, blocked, or rejected. Okay. All right. This is something too you'll see people talk about, and what it has to do is how are the rules in the firewall? How are they evaluated? Firewall rules are always evaluated in an order, and this says look at all your block rules first, and then after you get through the block rules, then look at the allow rules, and you'll see that. And again, for us as I guess we'd call ourselves newbies, we're going to go with the default on that. Okay. So we didn't do much here other than just enable it and set the threshold. I'm trying to go. I apologize if that scrolling makes you a little bit seasick, but I want to be kind of slow and steady because we are all learning here, and I don't want to miss something important. So we enabled it. We said keep settings so that if we do a new version of pfBlocker, we don't have to start from scratch. We left the cron schedule to run every hour. Okay, and we didn't change much else. We did the failure threshold. Max mind is the geo IP information. We want to see that in English. Okay. All right, and again, there is more that could be said, but we're going to keep it simple. All right, so we're going to save that. Now I'm at 6 minutes on the video, so what I'm going to do on this video is I'm going to tell you that where we're headed next in the next video is here. We are going to work with blacklisting, and there are a couple of different ways of blacklisting. And I just want to take a minute or two to kind of overview this with you. There is blacklist feeds, is what we're going to do. Those are custom, where you and I decide what blacklist we want to reference. They have a pfSense has a built-in. They call it Easy List. Now the name has changed, and so if you're reading some articles that really aren't that old, it's called something different, but if you read the article, you see what they're referring to is this. There are some pre-configured lists that are very, very easy to enable. Very, very easy to enable. They're currently not enabled. Very easy to do, and I won't go through those. I am playing with those at home, and I'm trying to see at how many blocks I get off of this list versus how many blocks I get off my custom list. So here's where we're going to be going. We're going to, first of all, we're going to enable it here, and then we're going to customize it here. The GeoIP stuff, which you probably have already done, if you did already do it, then you had already installed pfBlocker, but it's over here. And again, this is it's there without the max. When you install pfBlocker, you get these lists, and you can see the countries represented here. And this top 20 is for spamming. And I've been thinking about this. If you don't have a mail server, I'm not really sure that we need to enable that. That would be incoming mail. That's my take on this. Incoming mail would be blocked from these known spam sources around the world. I'm glad to see the U.S. isn't on the list there. So different countries for both IPv4 and IPv6, and you can be selective. If you only want part of a continent, you can come in here and pick and choose. But again, that's the geo IP, and we've got we referenced 2 other videos on that. Another thing that I'll show you here is that when you do make changes, we do need to come and ask it to update, and you do that on the Update tab. There's more here too. You can look at your alerts, and you can look at your logs. So there's really quite a bit going on here, and our goal is just to get you comfortable with the basics, get it working, and then you can invest more time to learn how to tweak it and have it do more. So when we come back, I'm going to wrap up this video. When we come back, then we're going to go into the DNS blacklist section, and we'll walk through the configuration for it, and then we'll reference a couple of different sources on the internet where some predefined blacklists have already been created. As I mentioned, we're going to reference the blacklist associated with the Pi-hole project. And then I'll take a look with you at Stephen Black's blacklists, and you can see those two. Those are very popular. They cover things that the Pi-hole project does not. So let me wrap this up, and we'll follow up with moving forward with the configuration of this.